With that bright neon psycho frame and stealthy black armor, this kit looks incredible, but is it actually worth building or just another third-party shelf warmer? Let's check out this unicorn from XingDong.
Let's dive right into this high-grade bootleg unicorn. As you can see right there, they decide just to go ahead and leave the head off the box. So if you're buying this box for more than just extra safety, don't do it. It's not worth it, unless you want a good laugh. But you can see right here, there's not much. They use the same image all the ways around the box. Taking a look, you can see just some of the nice detail in the actual collar, though. Opening up this box, you're greeted with some nice black plastic, as this is considered online as a limited edition. You know, being a bootleg, I don't know how true limited edition this really is. You can see right here that this is a 144 skate. If you didn't know, that's the first time seeing a misspelling on a manual, so I had a good laugh at that. I hope you guys can too. But taking a look, you are looking at this is standard high grade Unicorn Gundam itself in destroy mode, and all the ways through, very simple build. Here's your runner A with the multicolor. You can kind of attach it on there. Just something they do to separate it up with the different colors on here. Nice navy blue for just the feet and a couple other minor areas. Not too noticeable. Black through most of the kit here. Runner C, you do have two, the duplicates of the legs. Nice metallic, and then this beautiful inner frame green. I did have a couple pieces come off, so just be aware of that. A pair of beam effects, and then highlighter green poly caps. Take a quick look at the color correcting stickers. Those white you won't actually use just because the kit itself is not white. Unfortunately, they did not include black with it. Here is the entire model and its complete, beautiful finish. Real quick before we get into the articulation, make sure you click that subscribe button down there so you don't miss out on future Gunpla reviews.
Moving into the articulation section here, we're going to take a look at the head. Doesn't do a full 360 spin, and yes, that large V-fin did catch the hilt on that. Nice up and down movement with that double ball joint there. Shoulder is definitely a little tight, but you can do a spin, and then you can see I lost a little bit section of the armor on the upper part of the shoulder. That's all right. Kind of happens with some of these kits. A single point of articulation at the arm, right there at that poly cap, does come loose. It likes to separate some of the part. Strong arm raise there. It is tight in that shoulder joint, so use a little bit of finesse when moving that arm up there. A little bit gentle. Ball joint for the hand, and then moving into this hilt storage on the arm. It is actually one of my weakest points for this kit because it does not want to stay in. Whatever reason, it doesn't stay engaged, but we'll come back to that a little bit later. Almost a 360 spin at that waist. That backpack does catch a little bit loose in the side front skirts there. Side skirts are good, just a single peg on that poly cap to rotate back and forth. Hips have a little bit of a swivel in it too to allow for some better range of motion. Nice leg lift in the front, especially with that bulky section of the Psycho frame. Knee itself is not the most impressive bin with that, especially with that bulky Psycho frame on there. And it also feels a little loose in my opinion for what I would like in this long of a leg. Okay splits with that, again, kind of held up just with the side skirts there. Some side to side with the feet, and then a little bit of raise in that armor above the foot. Moving into the accessories here, you do get actually 4 saber hilts, but only 2 beam effects. Of course, the beam rifle and this beautiful shield. Everyone loves a nice unicorn shield. It isn't without a couple of little hiccups. You can see right there the poly cap would kind of slide on there, but you pop it in with the attachment here, and it pegs onto the side of the arm, sits into the holes. I did find it a little bit easier to start it on the arm than peg it in. It has a tendency to pop freely occasionally, so there's only so much you can do with that. You may have to pose it and then put it onto the kit to kind of save you some trouble in the long run. But it actually stayed on here pretty good that time for that, but it didn't really show too well. Moving into the beam rifle here, you can see this it's pretty much a straight gray all the ways around, so if you want to add some color to it, you'll have to do some paint up. Side handle comes out, swivels both ways, and that is all it does right there. That's probably the only articulation point on this. I will note that, of course, like most barrels with that metallic kind of cover, it does leave some nub marks, especially on the barrel itself. You do get this ammo accessory. I put it down below, kind of giving it a more of a fulfilling vibe where it's coming up, but there is a couple options you can display it. I believe you can actually peg it to the side as well. It is hollow on the back, so unfortunately it leaves a little bit to be desired. And then moving into the single trigger finger that you do get for this kit, You just separate at the hands itself and then pop it right in there. It holds on nice and firm. I do like the fact that we do get this trigger finger. Moving into the nice yellow beam effects. They're a little bit shorter than your kind of standard ones, but it's fine. The nice yellow color kind of gives a nice accent to the kit here. I'm losing some stuff. We'll come back and touch up on some of these things that are popping off later though. Taking a look at the hilt, you have the storage on the shoulders and on the arms on both sides individually. I absolutely love the color scheme on this kit. The dark and the green just go so well. It makes me want to buy the master grade version from Bandai. Plastic on this kit was solid. There is a couple minor details we'll talk about here in a few, but I did enjoy working with this kit as well. And I always forget how tall the Unicorn is, but without a doubt, there is some issues. The white color correcting stickers here, unfortunately, could have been black to make that. And then you can see some of the quality, especially in the metallic gray. You'll see some of the 3D print lines that actually kind of came out with that. Now let's talk about some of the things I did to just make this kit a little bit more presentable for you guys and for my shelf too. With the high grade Unicorn and Banshee, and this is regardless of who makes the kit, I did find that there's always some loose sections. I opted to use some Tamiya thin cement on this kit. I will say use this sparingly because it does break down the plastic quickly, but you'll want it. Starting with those sections that come off the side covers of that backpack here. This is destroy mode, so there's no other position than this right here. They have two small attachments that keep them in place, and they do come free loosely, so it's worth gluing in. The next spot is on this bottom rear skirt. They do pop out, and I find often that they kind of creep back in or fall off. Glue them in place too. Again, find a spot that you like is suitable and then just touch it up. It doesn't take much. This portion right here on the armor for that psycho frame as well, just during a lot of articulation movement, did come freely. Hilt storage on the arm is loose, but unfortunately that is a point of articulation, so no glue added there. These are stickers. I wish they were water slides. I do like the way they look and they give a nice little touch for that Ecopla. Like another spot worth probably gluing in is this armor connecting to the shield. Not all of them did it. However, I did have one or two that like to pop off freely. Here is another look at that arm section in that and some quality control on the plastic here. You can see some bubbling in the black. Not noticeable from a distance, but up close you can see some of the reflection of where it is just not completely clear. Most of black is clear. This is one of the worst spots that I've noticed. But again, from a distance, you can't even tell it. Oh, that popped off for the shield again. Overall, the XingDong Unicorn Gundam is a pretty satisfying build. Sure, it's got a few quirks here and there. Nothing too surprising for a third-party kit. But once it's together, that bold color scheme and unique presence really make it stand out. Make sure you check out this recommended video. And until next time, love!